Hello everyone and welcome to Recap V. Today we'll be talking about a movie called The Kingsman. The Kingsman is a 2021 spy action comedy film directed by Matthew Vaughn, from a screenplay by Vaughn and Carl Gajusek. Watch out for spoilers and let us begin. The movie starts off in 1902, British aristocrat Orlando, Duke of Oxford, his wife Emily, and their young son Conrad visit a concentration camp in South Africa during the Second Boer War. Oxford goes to talk with General Kitchener, and as they go outside to open the gates, for supplies to go in, Oxford gets shot in the leg by a sniper. As everyone tries to help, and find the sniper, some of the soldiers get shot. While Oxford tells Emily to go to their son. As she starts to run to him, the sniper tries to shoot General Kitchener, but Emily gets in front of him and gets shot, while Shola snakes behind the sniper and kills him. Emily then makes Oxford promise to never let their son see war again, and then she passes away. 12 years later, we see Oxford and Conrad flying with their plane and then going home. After this, Oxford takes Conrad to buy a suit, at the Kingsman, where they see General Kitchener, and his aide-de-camp, Morton. Then, the general asks to have a private talk with Oxford, so the two men go to another room, where Kitchener tells Oxford that Archduke Franz Ferdinand's political ambitions maybe put him in danger and asks Oxford for a favor. After this, the scene cuts to a group of people sitting on a table, then a man who seemed like the leader of the group, gives each of them a ring with an animal engraved into it, and inside the ring a pill. After this, he orders one of the men, Princip, to execute Archduke. After this, we see Oxford, his son, and Archduke in a car, on a visit to Serbia. As they are driving through the road with people welcoming them, Princip comes out and throws a bomb at the car. But thankfully Conrad manages to act in time, grabbing an umbrella, and hitting the bomb with it, throwing it to the car behind them. After this we see Archduke making jokes about what happened. Then we see Princip sitting in a coffee shop. As he is about to take the pill from the ring, he spots Archduke and the others. They take a wrong turn, and as they are about to turn back, Princip takes his gun out, and shoots Archduke and his wife, killing them. Because of this, Austro-Hungary wants to start a war against Serbia, believing the assassin didn't act independently. Then the King of Britain tells his cousins the King of Germany and Russia to not join the war. But both of them don't listen, and the Great War begins. After 2 years of fighting, everyone is shocked at all the destruction this war has caused in such a short time. Then we are sent to the group that started all of this, now planning to pull Russia out of the war, and unleash the full might of Germany to destroy England. The leader of the group then sends Rasputin to do this job. After this, we see Conrad and his father having an argument. Conrad wants to join the war, but his father won't let him, scared for his son's life, and trying to keep the promise he made to his wife. Then we see Rasputin, who seemed to be succeeding into brainwashing the King of Russia, and trying to take him out of the war. But we also see Conrad's cousin, who is spying on Rasputin, and writes a letter to Conrad, telling him about the situation. After reading the letter, Conrad goes to tell Kitchener and Morton. Hearing this, they decide to send an elite squad, to go to Russia and sort it out. Conrad then requests to go as well, but his father comes in, and angrily declines. After this, we see Kitchener and Morton going to Russia on a ship. Morton goes outside to take some air, and then we see a submarine launching a torpedo at the ship, destroying it and killing everyone inside. Then we see Conrad and his father. Conrad is reading a newspaper that writes about Kitchener's death, and Conrad doesn't believe it's an accident and says that Kitchener must have been betrayed by someone. His father doesn't say a thing about it, as he is reading the last letter Kitchener had sent him. After this, the boy gets angry, even shouts at his father. But then his father gets up and tells the boy to follow him. They go to his office, where he opens a secret door, and inside a room is Shola and Polly waiting. His father then explains that the three of them have investigated the war in Sacred, and had found out that some people are behind everything that is happening. After this, one of the spy maids that works for Polly had found out that Rasputin had the same ring that Princip had, only with a different animal engraved into it. So because of this, they decide to go to Russia and eliminate Rasputin. On their way there, they make a plan on seducing Rasputin with a cake and Conrad, since Polly's spy maid had told her that he likes cakes and sweet boys. And then kill him by making him eat the cake, which will be with poison. When they go there, Rasputin comes in, and then spots Conrad and his father. Unsure if they are waiters or Englishmen, he orders them to give him a drink, while also insulting them. But Oxford does the same to him, and then tells him he is looking for someone who can gain him an audience with the Tsar. But before Rasputin tells him anything, they decide to go and eat dinner. At the dinner table, Conrad tries to seduce Rasputin, but fails miserably, since Rasputin gets bored of him and tells him to change seats with his father. Looking more interested in his father than him. As Oxford goes to sit, Rasputin sees his wounded leg and says that he can fix it. Then they go to the room where the cake is, and then Rasputin starts to heal Oxford's leg, while eating the cake. But then puts Oxford under an illusion, and starts asking him why he wants to see the Tsar. But as Oxford is about to tell him, Rasputin starts to throw up the cake, and so the illusion is stopped, but he had also healed Oxford's leg. After this, he takes him outside, and says that he needs to stay in cold water for 2 minutes, but after Oxford goes into the water, Rasputin starts to drown him, because he had figured out the cake was with poison. But, thankfully Conrad and Shola were listening behind the door, and so they rush in. Conrad goes to check on his father, while Shola starts fighting Rasputin. But Shola is then taken down, and as Rasputin goes to kill him, Conrad shoots his sword from his hand. After this Conrad and his father start to fight against Rasputin, managing to drown him, but as the two men are taking a breath of relief, Rasputin gets out of the water, and as he is about to attack them, he gets shot in the head by Polly. After this, we are sent to the leader of the group Rasputin was on, and there he is angry at Rasputin's failure, so he makes Lenin go and pick up where Rasputin failed. Then we see the others, and Polly, coming in with a cake for Conrad's 19th birthday. After he blows out the candles, he asks his father to let him join in the war, since now he is of age. But his father again declines his request. This doesn't stop Conrad because he still goes to join. After this we see the Kaiser. His right-hand man suggests they should stop attacking the American convoys sent to Britain, since this might anger them, and make them declare war. But the Kaiser doesn't agree to this, and so his right-hand man gives him a document. After seeing what was on the document, the Kaiser gets excited and sends a telegraph with a top-secret encoding. But the message isn't shown at first, so let me make a question and see how good you guys are at history. What was the message the Kaiser sent? Leave a comment down below. Then we see the British Naval Intelligence, who got an intercept from the message the Kaiser sent, and then everyone is ordered to crack the code. But at the same time, we see Polly's spy maids who managed to steal the code and send it to her, so she can break it and figure out the message. Thankfully she manages to crack the code, and at the same time, we see Conrad finishing his training. Polly then tells Oxford the code, which was being sent to Mexico, asking them for an alliance and for them to attack the United States to divert their attention. After this Oxford tells this to the king, who asks him for a drink, but Oxford refuses at first, saying he won't drink till his son returns from war. But the king then tells him, he'll make sure his son is safe, saying the only action his boy will see is sharpening the general's pencils. After this, the two men have a drink, and we also see the President of the United States, who doesn't believe the telegram, and says he won't join the war until he has undeniable proof. Then in the West Front HQ, we see Conrad, who is assigned back to London by the king. He figures out this is his father's doing, and sends a soldier named Reed to send a letter to his father, explaining that he secretly replaced Reed's position, and manages to be sent out to battle. Then as soon as he reaches the trench line, one of the soldiers spots a runner, carrying the British flag, being shot by the Germans, so everyone is ordered to cover him. But in the end, an artillery shell manages to hit him, and so everyone stops their shooting. Then a high-ranking officer comes in explaining that the man was a British spy, and that he has information they need. So he asks 6 volunteers. Conrad doesn't hesitate and is the first to volunteer, but then no one else volunteers, so the sergeant orders the other 5 to go as well. When the day ends, the men then go out to find the spy's body, but they aren't alone as they also spot Germans doing the same. The soldiers don't shoot each other since this will make both sides of the trench line start shooting at them. Instead, they prepare for hand-to-hand combat. They start to fight and in the end, only 4 of them are left. Conrad and another British soldier try to fight the other 2 Germans. Conrad is almost killed by one of the soldiers, but the other guy sees this, and the only thing he can do to save Conrad is to shoot the German. After doing that, the loud noise of the shot alerts both sides of the trench line, and they all start to shoot. The other British soldier is covered by bullets by both sides, while Conrad starts to run for his life, managing to find cover. After, as he is leaning there, scared, he starts crying, but then behind him a man starts talking. When he turns he sees that is the British spy who was thought to be dead. Instead he is missing a leg. The boy then goes to hug the spy, and starts crying over him, saying he should have listened to his father and that he now understands why his father didn't want him to go to war. After calming down, the spy shows Conrad a small metallic box, and says that the content in this could end the war. He tells the boy to send this to the trench line, but Conrad says they'll both go. After this, as the sun is rising we see Conrad carrying the man, and running towards the trench line. The Germans spot him and immediately start to shoot. In the end, as Conrad is about to jump into the trench line, a shell explodes right behind them, killing the spy, but before that he used his body to cover Conrad, saving his life. Inside, the soldiers are amazed, and ask for the boy's name. Unable to tell them his true name, he lies and says that he is Archie Reed, but then another soldier comes in, saying that he isn't Reed, and that he knows Reed, so he points his rifle at Conrad, thinking he is a German spy, while Conrad tries to explain why he lied, but the man doesn't listen and shoots, killing the boy. After this we see his father reading a letter, in which explained what happened. After reading it the man goes to take a picture of his son, and hugs it while crying over it. After this, we see the King of Russia being forced by Lenin to renounce the throne. And then we go back to Oxford in a church. Then Polly and Shola come in, and explain that the documents Conrad recovered turned out to be the German ambassador's original handwritten telegram, that Polly cracked. Which is the proof America needed to join the war. Then we are sent to the man who started all of this, practicing with a sword. Then two of his people come in, and explain the situation that America wants to join in the war. So he sends Mata to stop this from happening. After this we see Oxford now drinking and moaning for his son's death. Then the king comes in, and tells him that Russia has left the war, and that America is still not joining. Saying that the people are starving and that Britain is close to a revolution. But Oxford doesn't seem to care, saying that Britain is doomed. Before the king leaves he gives Oxford the Victoria Cross, for Conrad. After that, Polly angrily starts talking to Oxford, saying that if Conrad was here he would have been such a great man, but he isn't. And tells Oxford to be a man like that, for his son. She manages to get Oxford out of his depressed state, and then he gets ready, and they prepare a plan on how to solve the problem Britain is in. Polly's spies have figured out that the President of the United States hasn't been himself ever since he received the telegram Conrad had recovered. And that he is ignoring any advice that is given about the war, and only talks in secret conversation with the embassy in London. One of the spies in the embassy had overheard the president's conversations on the phone, and says that they should make an unannounced visit at 3 o'clock. So Oxford goes to the ambassador, and there, he spots a scarf that looked the same as Princip's. After this the woman comes outside, and the two of them start to fight, but it doesn't take long for Oxford to strangle her and knock her out. As that happens the ambassador comes in. And then Oxford asks for an explanation, which the ambassador gives, by showing him a video that the woman made, seducing the president, and then threatening him with it. After this Oxford takes the scarf to the Kingsman shop, where the man there explains that the scarf is made by cashmere, from the Camolero goat, and that is very rare. He also tells them that this can only be found in a rocky mountain, the only place where the Camolero goat breeds. They go there, and they find 6 men guarding the lift to the top of the mountain. After this Oxford introduces to them a parachute, and explains how it works. They make a plan, and then we see Oxford flying a plane to the mountain with the parachute. After getting close to the mountain, he gets out of his seat, and goes to the wing of the plane, to get ready to jump. But the plane then loses control, and he gets stuck to the wing. He manages to cut it with a knife, and then starts falling down to the mountain. After opening the parachute, he lands to the side of the mountain, surviving because the parachute was stuck on a branch. After climbing the mountain, he overhears the shepherd, angry at what has happened, and gives one of his men a negative film to send it to the press. The man then goes to the lift, and Oxford follows inside but is spotted by some of the men, but before they could do anything, he goes inside the building that manages the lift, and closes the door. But then a giant man starts to attack him. Oxford then manages to fire a flare, giving a signal to the others. Shola then starts running to the lift, while Polly covers him. Oxford is then getting defeated by the giant man, and almost gets thrown off the mountain, but as the giant man approaches to throw him down, Shola goes to the counterweight, and Polly shoots the rope, so Shola is then thrown right to the giant man, cutting his head. And then Polly goes to get the film. After this, Oxford explains to Shola that the man that started all of this is in the house, so they decide to go and eliminate him. They beat the man stuck outside, and then go for the house. But as soon as they enter, they are blasted by machine gun fire, which, somehow, they manage to survive and take cover. After running out of bullets in the machine gun, the shepherd is then surprised to see Oxford responsible for all his plans failing. Then the three men start a gunfight, but quickly run out of bullets. The shepherd then suggests they fight as real gentlemen, with swords. So Oxford replies by saying that a real gentleman doesn't hide behind shadows. The shepherd agrees to that, and then reveals himself, that he is Morton. He then explains everything he did, and then he starts to aim his sword towards Oxford trying to shoot him, with a hidden gun, but Shola spots it, and jumps in front of Oxford getting shot himself. After this, Oxford and Morton start fighting each other, going back and forward. Both men seem to be at the same level of sword fighting. They both disarm each other, and then Morton loses it, saying "F this gentleman shit," and throws a grenade that he gets under the table. Oxford takes a shield, protecting himself from the fragments, but gets blasted outside. Morton then almost throws Oxford off the mountain, but then one of the goats starts to attack Morton, angry at him for having cut one of his horns. Oxford then takes this opportunity, and disarms Morton. He then pushes him towards the edge of the mountain, and grabs him by the scarf, so he doesn't fall. Morton then starts saying that he can't let him fall, because it goes against his every belief. But Oxford replies by saying that he has become the man that his son would have been, and cuts the scarf with the Victoria Cross that was given to him for Conrad. After Morton falls down, Charlotte comes out of the house with a bandaged wound, and the two men start making jokes. After this, we see the President of the United States being given the negative film which he burns, and right after that, he gives the command to go to war. We are then skipped a year later, and the war had been won, as we see the King of Germany forced to give up the war, and then we also see the King of Russia and his family being murdered. After this, Oxford purchases the Kingsman tailor shop as a front for his organization. Oxford, Shola, Polly, King George, Archie, and the U.S. ambassador form the original Kingsman, each assuming code names from the King Arthur legend, to honor Conrad. Then in a mid-credit scene, Hanussen, having taken on the shepherd identity, introduces Lenin to the Romanovs' killer, a young Adolf Hitler. And this is where the movie ends. Hope you all enjoyed this recap. Make sure to leave a like, comment on what you think about it, and don't forget to subscribe so I can make more recaps of movies, TV shows, animes, etc. See you all on the next video.